Welcome to Let's Talk Kenmore, a lighthearted podcast aimed at connecting our listeners to their local government and demystifying the role of government in the city of Kenmore. I'm your host, Amber Clifton. In this episode, I talk to masters of Hawaiian music, George Kahumoku Jr. and Daniel Ho. In this episode, I learn all about Hawaiian slack key guitar. Be sure to check out the Masters of Hawaiian Music on Thursday, August 13th at 6 p.m. at St. Edward State Park in Kenmore. Please enjoy this episode of Let's Talk Kenmore. Welcome to Let's Talk Kenmore. I'm here today with George Kahumoku and Daniel Ho from the Masters of Hawaiian Music to chat with them about their upcoming concert in Kenmore. Hi, guys. How are you?
We're doing good.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us, Amber.
Where are both of you located right now as we're connecting remotely?
I am in Los Angeles, California.
And I'm actually in Watsonville. This is where actually the Paniolas came to Hawaii from California to come to Hawaii to teach us how to rope cattle. I'm like right down the street from the old adobe house with the Castro who sent the cowboys in 1830s to Hawaii in Watsonville, California. But at the time, this was Mexico when they sent them over. Okay.
That's right.
It
Yeah.
was?
Yeah, this was Mexico. I'm in California, but at the time they sent the cowboys to Hawaii, this was Mexico, not the U.S. United States. 1830s, they were still part of Mexico.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Uncle, you moved to California to get back to your roots.
Yeah.
Tell me the backstory of why you are called Uncle.
Well, in Hawaiian culture, if you have an elder or somebody older than you, it's like we kind of like we call this system a Hanai system. It's like adoption system without papers. And then so we call our elders, either tutu if you're then oko kupuna, we call them uncle. So it's just like a term of endearment, just adding it to. So you could be part of my family. You could be my niece. You would be
Okay.
my adopted niece.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you prefer I call you Uncle then or George?
Yeah, you call me Uncle George.
Uncle George. Okay. Okay. So I would like for each of you to just sort of introduce yourselves, kind of give me some background on your, where you grew up and kind of how you arrived to this spot in your life, if you could. And Uncle George, if you want to go first.
Okay, well, I was born and raised on the Big Island of Hawaii, and I came from a family of farmers, ranchers, and fishermen. Was raised by my great grandparents. Grew up with 26 cousins in the same household. Went to this all Hawaiian school in Honolulu called Kamehameha. Got a full scholarship to go to college, and I wanted to go to art school, so I ended up was accepted at Rhode Island School of Design. All this ended up going to school in UC Berkeley and California College of Arts and Crafts. Then I
Wow.
started school, got my master's in sculpture. I was also school principal for about 18 years. Then after that, I became for alternative schools. Then I taught at Lahaina Luna for 22 years. And then but all along the time, I was playing music.
Right.
And the music was the thing that, actually, and I didn't go to school for music. I actually went to school for art and to become a teacher. But the music took off thanks to Daniel Ho. And thanks to George.
Oh.
Yeah.
You said you grew up with 26 cousins in the same household?
Oh, yeah. Two things you learn how to do. Number one, how to eat fast.
Yeah.
The other thing, you learn how to take care of your things because I wear the same underwear worn by 11 other cousins, and I had to pass that underwear over to another 3 or 4 cousins below me. So you had to
Wow.
take care of yeah. So and then you learn to be thankful for whatever you got. We don't waste anything. We use everything that. And I'm kind of old school, but that can be a problem. Like I don't like to leave nothing left on my plate, so then we eat everything. And
Oh gosh, yeah.
I've been blessed through music and because of Daniel Ho. He got us into the Grammys. I think we were nominated 6 different times, and we were able to land. I got 4 times with me, and I think you got 6 with you, right, Daniel?
Wow.
Yes.
That is wild to me. Yeah, we'll get to that. That's on my list of things that I want to know all about. What about what about you, Daniel?
Well, I grew up in a small town called Kaimuki on the island of Oahu. It's in Honolulu, and always loved music. Through found it in second grade. I started playing organ, took organ lessons, and then
Wow.
ukulele and guitar and different instruments. And after graduating St. Louis High School, which is an all boys Catholic school,
Yeah.
very much like where we're headed, right?
Right.
I moved to Los Angeles to go to music school, film composition, and unlike Uncle, I haven't really done anything else. No art, no nothing, just music for the last 35, 40 years or so.
Wow.
So I love it. It's a lot of fun, and I purposely did not educate myself in any other field, so I'm just stuck doing it. I have no choice. I have no backup plan, no plan B, no
Oh,
fallback. So here I am.
but it's worked for you. That's called having faith in your abilities, right? Knowing that you
Or desperation.
you know what? Either way, it worked out for you. So how did the two of you meet?
Daniel, you tell him. You tell me your for.
Okay. Well, in 1997, I had just got through doing my contemporary jazz band called Kilauea, which is the only active volcano in Hawaii. I named it after the volcano, and wanted to get back to my roots and play slack key guitar. I was playing piano in the band, and so I recorded a slack key guitar album and wanted to start playing, and I couldn't get gigs because it was an entirely different genre, and nobody would play with me because I don't think I was very good.
Oh.
But Uncle George was doing a tour through the West Coast, California, and he was going out with Uncle Ray Kane, who is another slack key master like Uncle George, on the Dancing Cat label. His wife had an ear infection, so they couldn't go out on the road and they needed a replacement. A mutual friend of ours, Leilani Marino, who has a hula school, a halau, in Santa Rosa, California, which is north of San Francisco, said, "Hey, why don't you use Daniel?" And so sight unseen, song unheard.
Wow.
Uncle said, "Okay, come along." And so I started touring with Uncle George, and I could not believe that I was playing with one of the slack key masters, and here I am just starting out with my first album, and I guess that was 1998, and Uncle George has been teaching me Hawaiian music on stage.
Wow.
For that long. Yeah, it's been a while, and we've done 13 albums together, and gosh, played all over the country, and even
Yeah.
internationally.
Played in Germany. Yeah.
Well, Hanover, Germany, we did the World Expo,
Yeah.
which is probably my most memorable gig with Uncle George. The World Expo was there, and I have, of course, never been to a World Expo, and it was just amazing. Every country builds a pavilion that represents their significance, like well, a flower bed from the Netherlands,
Right.
and wooden shoes and windmills, and then BMW would have their thing in the Germany
Right.
and it was just an amazing experience to be there and play Hawaiian music and share it with everyone who attended. And yes, I'm really grateful that Uncle George is still taking me around, and I've never been to Kenmore, Washington. So we're gonna take some time and see the sights. And
Yeah, I
enjoy the
hope
park.
so. Uncle George, what was it about Daniel that just made you say, "Oh yeah, sure, just come on board"?
Well, the thing is, we have a tight kind of a network that's like like an inner circle, and we consider ourselves family. So I Leilani Marina's a good friend of mine, and she calls me uncle too. And then when she said Daniel, said, "Oh sure, come on," what I mean? So it just which is really great because when I got together with Dan, we traveled a while, and then a couple of weeks later, he calls me. I wanted. Oh, he was doing something for the Crystal Cathedral, I think, in L.A., and he wanted to put
Mhm.
together a Hawaiian hymns. But I've been collecting Hawaiian hymns for like 20 years or something, but nobody wanted to do an album. So we did the album. I went, came to LA, laid down the tracks, and then Daniel added his magic to it, and we won our first Nahoko Hanhano. It's like a Hawaiian Grammy. So the thing is, I like that style of recording. I'm a one take guy, and I just like to do one song. I don't like to do it 50 times. So and it worked out really good. And we did a couple more albums after that, and it kept on going and going and going. So yeah, so we're
Wow.
blessed that we did all these albums.
Yeah, it was just meant to be, I guess, huh?
Yeah, and then the thing of is as George Winston, started recording me as a solo artist before that time, and not only but all the Hawaiian guys. So we started touring with them as well. And then later, one of the guys I met, this guy Paul Conweiser on the road, he took a liking to us, and he became like a roadie for me. And eventually, he couldn't see when we went back to Hawaii. We were playing everywhere from Great American Hall to Carnegie Hall and all these listening rooms and performing arts centers. But when we go back to Hawaii, we're playing in the bar or the seafood buffet, and nobody's really paying attention. He couldn't believe it, so he
Yeah.
came and started the Slacky show, and we recorded all of our shows for George Winston, who recorded me on the Dancing Cat. It was just for just to archive it. And then Danny comes and plays one time, and then right about that time they had a Hawaiian category for Grammys or something. And my son was on the first album, and they won. And I thought,
Wow.
and and I'm not saying that they were, but they were like the next generation. It's like, so I said, hey, we got all the first generation, which is me, and Danny listened to the stuff, and he said, hey, we could do something with this, and he did, and just for the recordings that we did from our show, that's why how and without Daniel's help, we would have never gotten there. So,
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
got nominated, I think 6 times and won 4 times because of Daniel. And
Oh my
a lot of the
gosh.
help, I think you said we had connections already because we had been teaching Slacky for like a number of years, so people knew what Slacky was. They couldn't pronounce their names though. Like they couldn't pronounce Kahumoku. They couldn't pronounce Pahino or Kamakahi, but they could pronounce Slaki. So they threw us all in one category. So when the title came for Slaki,
Mhm.
we were able to win in the Hawaiian category because
Wow.
most of the guys who could vote weren't from Hawaii. They were, all from all genres all over. But we were teaching already for 10, 12 years. Slaki, I taught at Berkeley School of Music in what you call Boston, and then
Mhm.
also we taught at Chet Atkins for about that time about 12 years. So we had a following, and people knew what Slaki was.
And can you explain to the listeners what Slack key is for those who don't know?
Okay, I'm gonna get back to Daniel. Daniel, you tell him what it is. I want you to talk.
Uncle, I think you have a better explanation because you come to slack key from the tradition, and I'm rather new to it
Mm,
relatively, so I think you should.
Okay, then we gotta go. The history of it is basically in 1793. George Vancouver gives a whole bunch of cattle to the Big Island of Hawaii. Kealakekua. That's where I'm from. I'm at 10 miles south corner. They let them go crazy and let them go wild. And in less than 30 years, it's like 20 cows and 2 bulls or something. The herd goes to almost a couple 100,000. And at the time, our houses were made of grass. Cattle eat grass, so we had a housing problem. The other thing cattle like to eat is tea leaf and bananas. So, all of our gardens had stone walls, and around the stone walls we plant the bananas and the tea leaf. But in between is where they had the food crops. They had the taro, sweet potato, breadfruit, and the cattle, by the hundreds would trample the food supply. So now that the natives are really restless. So in the 1830s, this guy by the name of Samuel Parker, who came from Massachusetts, marries the great granddaughter of King Kamehameha the Great. Her name was Kopeka, and he goes over to where I'm living right now on this road, and he approaches the Castro family, and they send over three vaqueros who come to teach the Hawaiians how to rope cattle. But at night they had guitars. They had a guitarone that played the bass. They had a six-string guitar that played the rhythm, and a four-string tenor guitar that played the lead. So it took three guitars to make that. My great great grandfather was one of the Hawaiian. We call him Paniolo because we don't have S in our vaqueros in our vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
So he learned how to rope cattle and I like that. But he also learned how to play the guitar. But then, what if when their contract here in Hawaii was only for 2 years? But when they left, they forgot to teach my grandfather folks how to tune the things, the guitar. So what they did is my grandfather just kept on loosening the strings to an open tuning that sounded good to his ear, and then the art form called Kiho'ala was born. Before that, we didn't have any melody lines either. It was mostly chanting, and our instruments
Mm-hmm.
were voice and percussion. Sticks, kala'ao, or ilili stones, or pahu drums, or gourds. That we used to make rhythm and sound. So actually the guitar came first, and then later on the missionaries and stuff brought the piano and the organ and all like that. And then it wasn't until when the Portuguese came with the sugar and the plantations way back in the 1860s that the ukulele came with the Portuguese. So we have all these influences in Hawaiian culture, but the first one was really the guitar. And
Mm.
somewhere along the guitar, the steel guitar came because by way of an accident, I think it was like 1880s or something. This guy Kukuku, and he went to Kamehameha school. So we have but basically slacky is open tunings. You tune
Opened.
the guitar to an open chord, so when you strum it, you're already in a key already. You don't have to press anything. So that's
Huh.
what slackening the strings. Kiho alu, yeah.
That's very cool. Very
Yeah,
cool. And I didn't realize that ukulele originated in Portugal. That's where it
yeah.
came from.
Rohingya, but it came from to Hawaii. And then, the Rohingya that came, that some of us 5 string, 4, 8, 12. I remember even having a tipo that had 10 strings and stuff. The guys who make them, I think it was Nunez and these three guys who came from Portugal started making ukuleles, in the 1880s or something, late 90s,
Mm.
90s. And that's how the ukulele tradition started. And then also we had the wood, we had core wood and so we had the kind of wood that would go good for making ukulele.
So, what were some of your musical influences growing up?
Oh, well, for me, I my earliest memory of playing music together was with my dad. He
Mm.
had an old Epiphone steel string guitar, and I played a little Martin soprano ukulele. You've probably seen like maybe Tiny Tim or someone playing one of those. It was
Oh,
my
yeah. Hmm.
my mom's little ukulele, and we would sit with a book on a. It was created with a typewriter, with the lyrics and a typed chord like C, F, or G written above the lyrics, and he had a whole book of songs that people kept copying, Xerox copying, and we would sit and play music together when I was in grade school, and that's my earliest memory. So Kui Lee was a very famous artist back then, and the traditional Hawaiian songs. And as I got older, I really got into like Billy Joel is one of my favorite
Mm.
artists.
Hmm.
And if you haven't seen the new documentary And So It Goes, it is so inspiring.
Really?
Uh, he, as far as someone who writes songs and sings and plays, like he is, I mean, he's so remarkable at all three skill sets.
Mhm.
And then Beatles, of course, and Bee Gees and Queen and Prince and all
Yeah.
the music of the 80s.
Of course. Yeah.
And so playing with Uncle and getting back to my roots after doing contemporary jazz, I like Dave Grusin is one of my most favorite artists and composers, and Bach, and
Mhm.
now getting. I guess my music is Uncle George comes to it from the traditional side, and he has the history, the family history, and I kind of write as a composer primarily write music and infuse it with other elements of world music and different
Right.
styles.
Right. So just kind of that cool blend of both of you having your perspectives that you bring to the table creates this unique sound.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when we play together, Uncle plays 12 string, which I cannot even hold the 12 strings down with my left hand. So I
Ah.
don't play 12 string, but I play a 4 string ukulele, a 3 string ukulele called an ekolu,
Oh,
which is ekolu means three in Hawaiian, and piano and slack key as well. So we have a show with different kinds of sounds. A lot of the hymns that we do, the Hawaiian hymns, I do on piano and accompany Uncle George.
very cool. What about you, Uncle George? Who are some of your musical influences?
Well, you see, I was brought up by my great grandfather, and he played slacky guitar. So he was the one that I first learned from, and I started actually with the ukulele when I was like 3 years old. And I don't know if I should tell you this story or not, but I was running around like a little kid, just crazy with, remember, 10, 26 cousins. And I'm
Mhm.
running past him, and he grabs me by the arm, and he says, he says, stop. And I stopped it. I said, slow down. So I slow down. He says, breathe. And then he says, stay here. Then he goes up, you know, into the bushes, and he breaks. We got coffee, lad. He breaks a stick, and it's a long 4 foot coffee branch. And in my head, I thinking, man, I'm going to get lickings, with this stick for running around and
Yeah.
acting crazy. So
Mhm.
what he does is he actually takes the stick and doesn't give me lickings with it. He breaks it in half. Then, so I got two sticks that's 2 feet long. Then he breaks it in half and gets it's four sticks, they're a foot, and he puts it on the ground. He puts it around the water thing. He gives me watercress. That's what I planted today too, by the way, watercress. That's what. And then he says, "This is your kuleana." He said, "This is you're responsible for this one." This is 3 years old. By the time I was 5 years old, I had planted the whole underneath of the our water thing. It was leaky, and then so he was actually teaching me responsibility. But along with teaching me how to, and then by the
Mm.
time I was like 8 or 9 or 10, I was taking care of quarter acre of land, and by the time I was in my 30s, 40 acres, and by the time I was in, 35, I was taking care of 7,000 acres. Now,
Wow.
what would also happen is that he also taught me how to play the ukulele at 3, and he taught me an open tuning, slacky ukulele. So that's what I learned first. So it's just he just tunes the ukulele to an open tuning, and then it was easy for me to transfer. When my fingers got big enough, I could use the same fingering for some of the stuff. Well, he knew hundreds of tunings on the ukulele, and so did my dad. And then so he was the biggest influence in terms of Hawaiian music. But I played all kinds of music. Like Daniel was mentioning about Quili, I was mentored by Quili.
Mm.
I played. I was washing cars at the corner of Kapilani, Kalakaua, a place called Lipi Spinders. And over there was a strip joint called the Forbidden City. From 10 o'clock to 4 in the morning, it was like a place where all the servicemen would hang out. The Army guys, the Marines, and Air Force. But during the
Mhm.
afternoons on a Friday and a Saturday, from about 3, after all the construction workers were over, to about 8 o'clock in the night, it was a place where the locals would hang out. And playing there was this guy by the name of well, it was Buddy Four and this other guy. I can't remember his name, like, but Queely was playing there also. So during their break, I was washing cars. In those days, this is like the late 50s, I was making about 10 cents a car,
Wow.
and people on a Friday. I mean, to get the 10 cents, you have to wash the car, whisk them out the whole interior. Then you gotta put one coat of wax. That's a lot, for one car for 10 cents. And then
Yeah.
I did 10 cars on a Friday afternoon, from 3 to about 6 o'clock in 3 hours after school. Then on Saturdays I'd be from 6 to 6. I try to do 30 cars to make $3,
Oh my
So
gosh.
there was, but then, during one of the breaks in the afternoon, they started 3 in the afternoon. So Cooley was out there smoking cigarettes, and he heard me playing my slacky guitar, during one of my
Mhm.
breaks, and he invited me to come in. So at 11 years old, I went in and did one song. Took me less than 3 minutes. And the construction workers, there's probably about 600 of them, masons, carpenters. They threw money on that stage, and I made $27.10.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
working one whole month at Libya Spindles. So that right there at 11 years old, I'm going to become a musician. And I
Yeah.
just started to learn another song. So that started my whole music career. And by the time I was 13, I was connected to a band called the Climax Five. But we entered the Battle of the Bands, and the lead singer was a senior at one of the high schools, and everybody's old. I was the youngest guy. I played Slacky, but I played all of the songs in Slacky. Like I played a Mustang Sally,
Yeah.
Leroy Brown, whatever it was from that time.
Mhm.
Walk Don't Run, all the songs that we heard on the radio. My Girl, all on Slacky. And then
Wow.
but we took second place in the Battle of the Bands at the Waikiki Shell. So by the time it was like 14, I was actually playing at all the teenage clubs. I had a gig for almost 2 years in Kauai. The guy would bring us in every Friday, Saturday night for almost 2 years at a place called Club Jetty. And it was a teenage club. This guy, Larry Rivera. So we got, those days they didn't pay you much. They paid the whole
Right.
band $50. There was five of us, so $10 a night. But he also paid a plane fare over, and the place would be packed like 300-400 kids, teenagers. So that
Yeah.
was the beginning of my whole career. Now all the stuff that I learned from music, I didn't learn at school. I learned that from my family, from my cousins, everything like that. The other big
Right.
influence on me was when I went to college, I used to listen to a lot of Santana. Like I love Santana.
Mhm.
And I did listen to some of the Beatles and like that, but I think even more was the Young Rascals. There's a place in the sun. You know, so they kind of
Yeah.
influenced me a lot. And then Peter,
That's
Paul,
so
and
cool.
Mary influenced me because I think it was Peter Paul was playing a 12-string guitar. When I heard it, I said, "Oh man, I want to play 12-string," but I heard him when I was like 11, 12, 13 years old, but I didn't get a 12-string till I was about 24. You know,
Mm. Yeah.
but But in my house, when I grew up with my grandfather, we had every single instrument you can think of. We had accordion, piano, flute, violin. But
Mm.
there's 26 of us cousins, so we weren't allowed to touch the instruments. But lucky for me, my great grandmother made this drink called okole hao, which means kicks you on the butt. She mixes it from the bottom of the kiwi fruit. She ferments it. It's like 180 proof green flames, like white lightning.
Whew.
And everybody would be, they'd but partake of her drink, and they'd all be passed out. When they pass out on the ground, then grab the instruments, we jump over the stone wall, and that's how we all learn how to play music. Just from learning from each other. And of course, we've been listening to this music for 3, 4 days. That's
Right.
how long the parties were. There'll be the party before the party
That's
to
so
get ready. We
funny.
gotta kill the pig, clean it because there's no refrigeration. Then there'll be the party itself. Then the next day we got to clean up, and then whatever's left over food is another party. So there'd be all these celebrations. And as kids, that was when we would, be able to got to play. So most kids, they were trying to get them to practice and all of that. For us, we never got to practice. So the only time we got to play is when everybody's passed out. So that's how we learned. We all had learned how to play on the sly, kind of. What I mean?
Wow. Wow. That's so funny. Wait
Yeah,
until the
instead of
adults get drunk and grab the instruments.
yeah.
That's amazing. I want to talk about this Grammy nominee and Grammy award winning because I can't imagine. I am a local musician. If that happened to me, I would lose my mind. Tell me what that felt like to be like told, "Hey, you've been nominated for a Grammy and then also you've won a Grammy."
Back to you, Daniel.
Well, it was interesting. I remember the day I received the fax. So my wife Lydia and I have a small record company called Daniel Ho Creations, and we released these albums: the Masters of Hawaiian Slack Key Guitar, and Uncle George, and myself, and so a few other artists. And I get this huge order for CDs from this distributor, and I called them thinking, "Oh, sorry, I think you put a couple zeros on here. You mistyped this because it's
Right.
just unusual. We don't get orders like that." And I said, "No, that's correct. Did you hear you got nominated for a Grammy?" And that's
What?
2005 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
2005.
yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. And we went to the Grammys, and I just had a cheap suit from Robinson's May when there was a
Oh.
Robinson's May, $240.
Yeah, yeah.
And we went to the Grammys and these lights and all that stuff. And
Oh my
just
gosh.
by chance, we won, which was unbelievable. And Uncle George and everyone was there, and we all went up. And after the Grammy award, where you receive it, they whisk you away to the back where they have a press room. Actually, many different press
Yeah,
rooms,
you
like
just go from
five
one
different
room to the
rooms where
room,
they,
next room to the next room. Yeah.
They're just
yeah,
shuffling you through, huh? Yeah.
yeah, and people can ask you questions and uh, about how do you feel and what is slack key guitar, right?
Mhm.
And we did that, and then there was an after party uh, uh, in the West Hall of the Convention Center here in LA, and house band, the house band was Earth, Wind, and Fire.
No.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's
A-
right. Yeah.
And this is I can't ever forget this, but like 5 feet from the stage, you're dancing to Fantasy and September and Reasons and Philip Bailey
Were you
singing.
like, "Have I landed on another planet right now? What is going on?" That is so cool.
Well, I mean, this is like 21 years ago. I remember it
Uh-huh.
specifically. Someone spilt their beer on me, and I'm like, all good?
I don't even
That's all good?
care.
I don't
I
even
don't
care.
even.
But it was unbelievable. And that was the night. And thanks to Uncle George and allowing me to record and release these albums with him, uh, that was kind of the beginning of another chapter of my music career, because until then, I mean, I still record at home. I do everything at home and just on a very small scale. I still work that way because I love the autonomy, the creative
Mhm.
freedom. But after that Grammy in 2005, it's kind of like a short bio that sort of kind of helps you along on things
Yeah.
you want to do, and life is pretty much 80% rejection or 90% rejection, right?
Ain't
Like,
that the truth? Yes. Yes.
and then now, I mean, since 2005 for me, it's been like 79% rejection.
Yeah, it's
So it's
opened
really
some
helped out a
doors.
lot.
Yeah, giving you some credit in the industry, open some doors, sure.
So
So,
79% rejection and a 21%.
yeah. I mean, you just kinda chip away, right? Every little bit takes you a little bit further, and you just keep on keeping on. That's so
Yeah.
incredible. Okay, so when you have multiple people in a group, does everybody get their own Grammy, or do you have a shared Grammy?
Everybody gets their own. There has to be 51% participation on the album.
Okay, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But interestingly, the inspiration of that also was uh, trying to improve in all aspects of the creative process going forward. So, uh, recording academy members, the voting members, are some are guitar players, some are vocalists, some are producers, some are audio engineers, some are drummers, and to appeal to all of them,
Mhm.
Well, to appeal to a drummer, you have to have great rhythm. To appeal to a vocalist, you have to have a certain way of singing that is of their standard that they might find attractive.
Mhm.
So everyone hears music from their area of expertise, and uh, I sort of realized like if you can make it sound really good with the right kind of mics and placement and EQs and processing, then the engineers are going to say, "Hey, how did you get that guitar sound or ukulele sound?"
Mhm.
and support it.
Mhm.
And if you've got a really great pocket, then the drummers will be like, "Wow, nice groove, man," even though
Y-
it's not even on drums, right?
right.
So you're speaking to conductors and classical musicians, and they want to hear counterpoint. And um, it was fun just trying to understand the listener and your audience is a very high level, often experts in the field, and it's been a source of inspiration for a long time.
Yeah. Very cool. Uncle George, what was your feeling when you got the Grammy?
I've never been to the Grammys before, but I learned this thing called huna from my great grandparents. When I was like, again, when I was young, like 3 years old, I wanted a horse. My uncle had horses. The village I lived on, we only had two cars for 1,200 people, but everybody had
Ugh.
horses or donkeys or whatever. So I wanted a horse, and my grandmother said, this. She said, if you want to have anything, or if you have a goal in your life, all you have to do is see it in your mind. You got to be able to smell it, taste it, feel it. So she called this huna. So she says, "Can you see the horses?" Oh yeah. And she said, "Can you smell the horse?" So I would go. Then I would go over to my uncle who had a string of horses, go help shovel manure. From 3 years old to about 5 years old, and and I would feel the horses, and I would just imagine that's my horse, and even I'd feel the salt, and then put the nozzle up to my, all that stuff. So by the time I was 5 years old, my uncle, one of the mayors, gave birth, so he gave me that horse. So same
Hmm.
thing with the Grammys. I've never been to the Grammys before, so I would kind of manifest in my mind what it would be like to win the Grammys. And I wasn't interested in the Grammys so much as I was interested in, well, if I go to the Grammys, what are we gonna eat? I came from that point of view. So I imagine it. So if we go to the Grammys, and then I worked at Mauna Kea Beach, which is like 5-star hotels. I said, "Oh man, I wish you could have as just food like the Mauna Kea Beach. We're gonna have like at least prime rib. So
Yeah.
and then the Mauna Kea Beach also served these beautiful jumbo shrimp and crab legs and all this wonderful buffet. So well, if I go to the Grammys, I hope if we win, I hope we can eat good food, shrimp, and all of this good stuff. And so anyway, when we go to the Grammys, I mean, we went through all that stuff, but there's this before show thing, right, Daniel? And right there,
Mm-hmm.
there's this pre-show. There's the stuff all I manifested in my mind at the Grammys. This guy carving prime rib, remember? And it
Yep.
made me a
Yep.
big stack of the big what do you call it, the king crab legs, and a whole
The
plate of
crab
them.
legs. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and all of that with the red sauce and this. So that's how I imagine the Grammys through my mind and my senses. I mean, I imagine squeezing that lemon all across the crab legs, and then dipping it in the red sauce, like that. So
Oh my
that's
gosh.
that's how I approach the Grammy from that point of view. So so uh,
That's a good healthy point of view. I love that.
So that's what I've done my whole life. I've manifested whatever. I built over 106 houses, all management. Just if I can see it in my mind. And before I went to art school, but I love to draw, so I would draw stuff on the sand. But I learned how to build chicken coops, because I used to fight chickens. But it's not that far from building a chicken coop to building a house. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
so
Yeah.
but that's what inspired me. But everything tied back, even the music, to something practical. In fact, when we go to Kenmore, you ask the question. One of the wherever we go to play music, I know all the spots where there's good food. You know what I mean? Wherever we go to
Good.
play. all over the country. Even I know the best Italian restaurants in New York, even the best places to get Puerto Rican food in Minneapolis. You know what I mean? And even the
Yeah,
best tongue sandwich in the Bronx. So, so I associate wherever we go with food. That's how I kind of
perfect.
because I'm a foodie anyway. So
I
I've
mean,
been,
I am
I'm
too.
so I've been trying to figure out what does Kenmore have to offer. So I went online. They said that's some Thai places, and I wanted seafood, but they said over there they said it's seasonal. So all the stuff that I
Yeah.
looked up. So I don't know. What's your suggestion?
Well, the place that you're playing at St. Ed's, there's actually a Michelin star restaurant right inside at the venue right there called Cedar and Elm.
Oh yeah, that's what they said.
Delicious.
That was the top restaurant they said out of what I didn't realize we was at Cedar now, but I saw that as the best restaurant in Kenmore. Yeah,
Yep, and
Cedar
it's
now.
right there at the venue. Yeah.
Oh wow! Well, thank you for letting
Mm,
me know. Now I have something
of
to look forward
course.
to. Anyway, that's my version about the. I approach it more from my stomach than from the. I wasn't interested in the statue too much as I was interested in the food.
Well, you know what? It's working for you. Your manifestation of good food is getting you exactly where you're trying to go. Do either of you have so far like a concert or a performance, a gig that was like, "Oh man, I'm going to remember this night for the rest of my life." A performance that really just was like chef's kiss.
I would say for me it's more about the experience as a whole,
Mhm.
and the World Expo when Uncle George
Mm,
invited me like in 1999, 1998 to do that in Hanover, Germany. It was
Germany, yeah.
surreal. At the time, scooters, those little razor scooters were very popular.
Mhm.
I bought one and I scooted the entire World Expo for like 6 hours a day. I'd wake up at 4 in the morning. I'd scoot all over the streets and watch bakeries open.
Wow.
And I went in as many pavilions as I could. And then uh, when we had our performance, we went and played Slack Key, and Uncle George and I got to share music that most people there have never heard before.
Mhm.
And I would say that's for me probably the most memorable experience.
Yeah.
And yeah, I say mine would be that too. And the reason for that is that the 1860s, King David Kalakaua traveled around the world, and he saw the pomp and stance of the people in Germany. So he brought back to Hawaii this guy Henry Berger, who was a German minstrel. And then when we were there at they did have this what do you call Oktoberfest beer thing, and they were
Mhm.
singing all of these songs. And believe it or not, they were singing it in German, but I knew those songs. The melody, he had somehow, I know the songs in Hawaiian. You see what I mean? Like we got this song
Yeah.
called the Hilo March and all of these songs that I heard that they were, but there was this more like pampa, kind of like that that song. But I was just like anyway, and not only that, again the food incredible. um, they served this pork like it's the arm of the pig. It was totally crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside. And then in
Mm.
Hawaii we have like potato macaroni salad, but it's usually cold. But they had a hot potato salad. Never had that, and of course the
Oh yeah.
sauerkraut. But the most amazing thing, they had this huge. I think it was a steer. The steer on it, live on the weight, was probably 2,000 pounds,
Oh,
but it
right,
was
right.
it was
Yeah.
800 pounds stainless steel oven. Okay, the thing going round and round in this
What?
all you can glass windows, and the chef is in there carving off pieces and serving people. There's a line that's going around the block, and it was
Wow.
just to see that, and then it was like the technology at the time, and then and then lucky for us that Danny went around and looked at all these places because he said, "Oh, this is a good." This he was like the tester. He would tell us, and there's this one place that we went. I think it was Sri Lanka or whatever. The guy was serving tea, and the guy was just like a master tea maker. He would count,
Wow.
how many people in the audience. Then he count the course. Then he mixed the tea, Then he'd pour it back and forth. I mean, he's pouring it like, like back and forth. Then he'd pour up the cups right to the tea with not even a drop extra, not. And then he would serve it. It was the best tea you ever ate. You know what I mean? He put in
Wow.
what you call it, condensed milk and whatever, and when he
Mm.
made it, it was just super hot. But by the time we reached it, it was just perfect temperature. Everything not too hot. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of amazing things, and then the music was good. We got to share and all like that, but just the whole ambience of the place, and being there,
Yeah,
being
that
there
sounds cool.
in Germany and just sharing fellowship and stuff with Daniel and the others that we had over there. But the
Yeah.
food is what I remember the most.
Uh-huh.
That
Uh-huh.
that, that crispy skin arm of the pig, and then the guy carving that. It wasn't prime rib; it was like a whole steer. Remember that, Daniel? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember, yeah. That was
Wow.
quite amazing.
Yeah. Well, we were really blessed that we can share music.
Well, I am really looking forward to hearing you guys play. That is Thursday, August 13th, 6 p.m. at St. Edward's. Hopefully, I can pop backstage and introduce myself in three-dimensional form before you guys go on stage, if that's okay.
Yeah, and maybe we can all sit down and share a meal together or something. You can join us.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course.
yeah. You guys have been so awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amber. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for taking time to chat with me. I appreciate you.
And thank you too, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. Mahalo. And thank you, Amber. Aloha.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay, aloha. Bye bye.
Thank
Amber.
you. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Let's Talk Kenmore. Be sure to check back for more interesting topics and conversations. And as always, don't forget to ask yourself, where's the fun?